will get started shortly. All right, then we'll get started. A very warm welcome to everyone to our panel that was put together by Mongolia COP30 to COP17, Youth Planting and Growth Convention Synergies. So I'm really excited to learn more about what is the kind of leadership that we could envision, how the actions that we could implement together, and perhaps some of the recommendations that we could discuss within this dialogue. And before we begin, it is my honor to welcome Ulaanbaatar, a senior policy expert of climate change and desertification in the department within the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, to welcome us and to do what we're doing.
Thank you so much, Ulaanbaatar, to bringing me to the floor. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to this important and very informative, at the same time very interesting event. And before I go into my opening speech, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my junior negotiators and all the youth delegates from government of Mongolia attending COP30 that I entrusted them to let's organize something interesting discussion in terms of how we could bring COP30 decisions to COP17 potential opportunity and impact decisions, that we could discuss the potential ways youth engagements to the COP17. So I would like to say that for all the time, youth and the youth and also youth engagement and also climate change is like the hottest topic for all the time. Because I think myself, I'm actually one of the youth. But actually working for the government more than 5 years, and it's been tough for me to handle all the policy jobs at the government side. And this is my first time that I feel more comfortable and feel more supported with all of you, my youth negotiators and youth delegates here in Ulaanbaatar. So I feel so awesome with you guys, and I think I believe and I'm sure that you during this session, all the youth delegates, including all the guests, the distinguished guests to this event, will discuss substantively and constructively about the how we could collaborate, how we could ensure the youth engagement and youth inclusiveness to the all the three parts decision-making process, as well as the widespread and the overall environmental agenda and overall environmental crisis and the opportunity for the enabling all the solutions to be implemented in the future. So you guys, good luck, and I will be looking forward to, I will be thrilled to listen your voices and ideas, how we could deliver COP30 to COP17 decisions together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving us the motivation and also walking the talk and integrating all of us, not only as youth tokenism, but also as part of the delegation team and hopefully also part of the decision making. And so, why did we decide to put together this event from the youth perspective? We realized that it's very important for youth to be part of the discussion in Mongolia, not only because youth need to be part of the discussion, as we say a lot in this talk, but in Mongolia specifically, 60% of the youth is below the ages of 30, and the average age is 27. So if we want to advance in climate action, there is no other way. We have to involve in it. And we have a very big challenge in front of us that over 70% of our land is degraded. So we're really counting on COP17 presidency to put forward climate leadership, but also a strong implementation plan and have a very inclusive process within it. So then, I would like to introduce our panelists for today. may I invite Pritnuk of Russell, who is part of the youth delegation team at COP30 of Mongolia. Round of applause, please. So then next up we can please invite Ms. Dr. Ulaanbaatar, who is the land policy advisor to COP17 task force. Round of applause, please. And next, I invite also Pedro Henrik, who is part of the delegation of COP30 Brazil, to join us in this discussion. Round of applause, please. Thank you. And last but not least, Ms. Ulaanbaatar, who is also part of the COP30 youth delegation team of Mongolia to COP30 Brazil. For joining, and first of all, I would like to ask you, as you have a very good overview of the process, and when you go back to COP16, what were young people advocating for at COP16, and what are some of the synergy gaps that were visible between conventions on land, climate, and biodiversity?
Thank you, Lupin. It is my pleasure to join this amazing panel today, and good afternoon, everyone. So to begin with, I'll introduce quickly about myself. I come from the civil society, and this year I have the opportunity great honor to join the Youth Negotiators Academy, which actually serves to empower young people to be meaningfully included in these negotiations, very complex and technical negotiations. So this is actually the first time I'm joining the country delegation. Last year, I happened to join the COP16, the desertification COP in Riyadh, but from a different perspective. I joined on the other side of the negotiation table. I joined as a civil society observer in a very different context. So I'd like to share some of the outcomes and the experiences that young people were sharing during the UNCCD COP, as well as what we were advocating as youth advocates. Firstly, as you might know, the desertification COP that happened in Riyadh, for the first time we gathered over 20,000 people. So it was the first time that the UNCCD COP itself, that is traditionally seen as the smallest, the COP that gets the least attention, actually was able to gather such a huge number of people. And a very large proportion of the delegates were actually youth. And I would like to say that youth action and youth mobilization was quite strong. And one of the biggest outcomes that came out of COP16 in Riyadh was the official adoption of the UNCCD Youth Engagement Strategy, which called upon governments to institutionalize youth seats at their national delegation, at their respective environmental governance, both for desertification and climate change. Moreover, it called for the strengthened synergies among the three conventions. Another key point that young people were advocating during the UNCCD COP was this strengthened emphasis of agriculture and food systems, as it is the main cross-cutting theme across the three conventions. And these three conventions, they work hand in hand. It is, although there has been a lot of attempts to synergize, we did see it that we are working in silos. It is very important to connect these conventions both at the international level, in the multilateral space, as well as at the national level. So which means to synergize the national reporting to the targets of the LDM, the land neutrality, MDSAPs, as well as the NDCs. So these were the main messages during UNCCD COP. Although we advocating for many things, I would like to connect it to today's panel discussion. So what were the gaps? Apologies for taking a little bit more time. But from my perspective, although there has been an incredible amount of mobilization of young people across all three conventions, however, we did see
For biodiversity, it is the Global Biodiversity Youth Network, and for UNFCCC for climate, it is YOUNGO. So among these three, although there is quite an action, but we are working in silos again. So I think it is important for us young people to get connected and mobilized and to synergize our efforts to strengthen, because these conventions work hand in hand. So this is my key message that I wanted to mention. Thank you very much, Vishnu. I couldn't agree more that we have to go from silos to synergies. And now, thankfully, we have a little bit of time till August next year. And this creates a great opportunity for us to connect and work towards ambitious outcomes of COP17. And next, talking about COP17, Ms. Dr. as COP17 host, how can Mongolia become a global example of engaging in meaningful leadership?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me as a panelist. And I must say, the audience is small, but they're intimidating audience. Anyways, I have to, I think I should mention my background a little bit. And this is my first time attending UNCCC COP. I'm more of a CBD person, and I've been working on CBD, GPF, and NDSAPs for almost 10 years, more than 10 years. But coming here to COP30 and listening to all these talks on coming from silos to synergies, integrating the goals and action plans, action agendas of the three conventions on CBD, UNCCC, and UNCCD, it's definitely a music to my ears. Very important. And I'm very happy to be part of this discussion as well. And I'm at the moment also supporting the UNCCD COP17 task force, and I am contracted to Chinese actually, and we've been working to develop global initiatives that the government of Mongolia is planning to launch at COP17. And all these initiatives, what we are talking about is how we can ensure and make sure the synergies between all the three conventions, and also how we can make it more bankable, scalable action. It's not about only launching an initiative, but it has to be implemented as well. And to ensure a successful implementation, we have to engage all stakeholders and intergenerational decision making. So that is why I think this panel is driving the force from COP30 to COP17 is a very important discussion to have. And I also would like to, as a more of a CBD person, I want to highlight that 33 years ago, Mongolia, when attending the Rio Convention, the Earth Summit, Mongolia actually committed 30% of the land to be protected 33 years ago. This goal has become a global goal under the Global Biodiversity Framework 3 years ago. So just imagine, after 30 years committing, Mongolia's commitment, it has become a global goal. And I must say thank you to this visionary person who's sitting also in the audience. Thank you for that commitment. It was really visionary. And we really thankful for those visionary people. And so it shows that Mongolia has been a leader in conservation activities. And it would be also great to see Mongolia becoming a leader at UNCCC as well. And another thing, Mongolia is hosting the COP17 next year is also proving that Mongolia is a leader in the environmental sector. And next year, in COP17, Mongolia is planning to launch 3 global initiatives. One on rangeland flagship initiative. It's all about rangeland management, knowledge transfer, effective monitoring, and MRV technologies. And the second initiative is on land and water nexus, how we can ensure integrated land and water management. And it will be a also a pivotal point for both land and water management. We really believe so. And the third initiative is also very important. It's nature-based solutions for sustainable infrastructure. So ensuring nature-based solutions integrated into in all infrastructure, it's actually another visionary for us. So coming from all the way from 1992, from New York Summit to here, we've been a very good leadership. So going back to my point of intergenerational decision making, we have to ensure more involvement and more engagement from the youth sector. As you said in during your introduction as well, more than one third of the Mongolian population is youth. So you have to be part of the decision making and you have to be as part of the implementation as well. Only that we can secure a safer, nature positive, and climate smart society.
Thank you so much. It gives me a lot of hopes knowing that the planning process behind COP17 is such a holistic process that takes into account land, water, the, our land role, but also the people at the very center of it, and also highlighting that the importance of the intergenerational dialogue and collaboration. We are all hungry to learn here and to also learn from visionaries, from people to collaborate and to implement the solutions together. And next, we have Tiger Henrik, and he will be discussing about the solutions. So I'm very interested in what solutions could encompass the three conventions and approaches.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I'm Pedro. I'm from Brazil. Also part of the Youth Initiators Academy, along with you and Anne. And it's a pleasure to be here, speaking with you, discussing with you. Brazil has a tradition to be very close to the UNCCD convention, especially last year we sent our hugest delegation so far, 100 people. It seems small compared to 5,000 people delegation from the UN People C Convention, but related to the land-degradation and desertification convention, it's all growing our priority. I'm close contact with the Ministry of Environment of Brazil, and they are putting a lot of energy to even more people next year to Mongolia. And I'm very happy to be part of this discussion soon. My background is civil society, bar, and I'm specialist in restoration, which is a nice way to address a solution for the three innovations. I think restoration might be a path that we can reach between biodiversity, of course, because if you are restoring the land, if you're restoring forests, you are trying to recover biodiversity. There are a lot of studies that horizon between ecosystems, and those studies indicate that for some ecosystems, biodiversity can recover very fast, for other ecosystems, not so fast. So we should be careful also. It's not like a no only and only solution that can solve all the problems. The best strategy is to avoid degradation, restoration to recover biodiversity, store carbon on the soil and also on trees if we are talking about a forest ecosystem. Of course, of the system functioning and also improve resilience of the ecosystems. I work with the Catino dry forest. It's a little bit closer. It's 500 millimeters per year. So it's a city area ecosystem, and specialize in this ecosystem in Brazil. And in areas that we have forest cover, we have nature preserved or recovered, the land resilience is way better, it's faster. So it is the pathway to to have resilience in the ecosystem. The last one is also for desertification. So my ecosystem that I want for you to picture 18% of the Brazilian territory is, has intermediate to high levels of degradation. It's related to desertification. So the number increased 10% from the last 20 years. So the degradation is increasing, and the risk of desertification is also increasing very fast. This was only a problem from Caatinga dry biome in Brazil, and now it's a problem for all biomes, including the Amazonia, which is totally incomprehensive because the Amazonia is very wet, but the borders of the Amazon already are starting to present desertification spots. So the restoration comes as a solution for biodiversity to climate, especially for desertification. In Brazil, we already have a lot of specialists, a lot of technology and resources to combat desertification. To mitigate, but also to reverse. But those strategies are not cheap, as you probably know. They are very expensive in financial resources. So we are trying to make more technology, improve this, and we have to discuss with Mongolia counterparts, sorry, to make it happen. Because I know this is a global challenge that we need to tackle, right? So agri restoration is a nice solution to bring all three conventions together, and they usually play a very nice role in this solution because at least in Brazil we are very engaged and we have a lot of energy to try to solve this problem.
Thank you very much for highlighting some of the shortcomings that we need to be aware of, and how restoration could also be a red line from restoration to regeneration. And there's so much that we can learn from Brazil. And the struggle or the challenge of desertification is not only a Brazilian problem, it's a global challenge as well. And this highlights the importance of really working together, not only intergenerationally across countries and across industries to advance. And as the last one, you also brought up the topic of finance. And so we have to also discuss what are the finance mechanisms that are supporting these activities in making sure that this goes to the hands of the people who are helping restore it, who are helping regenerate the land. And with that, I would like to go to you, our last but not least speaker, on understanding. So, what are some of the support mechanisms we could put in place that could help youth engage more effectively in Mongolia?
Thank you very much, Ulaanbaatar. So I would like to give some background. I am part of Mongolian Synergies right now, and I'm also following the SPSD, the 15 agenda item, which is about the cooperation of the three countries conferences. So I've been very diligently following that track because this is really dear to my heart because I work in the biodiversity field as just like Daphne. So I was really surprised that the progress we are making at this point in this track was somehow being delayed by certain colleagues because in my opinion this topic is so obvious, it could have a decision within a day. But somehow there was different interests, different ideas, different views in the room. So I tried to understand what's the reasoning behind that. I tried to understand why this decision is taken, why this topic is taking this long to have a discussion. So I asked around my friends, I asked about the fellow youth that are engaging in the negotiation process, and they said that this UNFCCC, UNCCD, UNCCD processes are very complex process. It is already hard to understand what's going on, why it is happening at this way, why it is happening in this way. So it's just important to understand the process first to engage meaningfully. So I think as a youth, we need this capacity to learn from experienced negotiators to engage meaningfully in this processes so that we could have that we could maybe become the force of acceleration in these processes. So that's my idea. I want to put forward to Mongolian ministry as well. So we could have a base that we could use during this negotiation processes, and we could leverage to achieve the synergies between these three conventions. So therefore, I'm really thankful for the Climate Chief Negotiator Program organized by Youth Negotiator Academy. This program really helped me to understand the basis of these three conventions and how processes are, how decisions are made, how the process progress. So I'm really grateful for that, and I think we could adapt this program to the Mongolian context. We could learn these lessons from this COP and adapt to our specific national context. So that was my thinking. So I really hope that Mongolian government could support this reasoning as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Atna. Even though this is your first talk and you've learned so much till now, I'm sure everything that you've learned will have a lasting impact and support up to COP17 and beyond. And I'm really kind of inspired by all the Mongolian youth around and the Mongolian government for working so closely together at COP30, but also building up to COP17. And with that, you've spoken about already some of the challenges on engaging with youth, on perhaps it could be on the capacity building side, it could be on the resource side. So in my last kind of open Q&A with the panel, I would like to ask you, what are some of the mechanisms that prevent you from being engaged in these meaningful conversations, or what are the mechanisms that exist that support you? Do you know of any? Could you share with us? I could start with this question. So I would like to reflect on what my colleague has said now. It has beautifully mentioned that the negotiations themselves are incredibly complex and technical. Let alone for you, I think that for a person who is stepping into this space for the first time, it could be really, really challenging. So I would like to emphasize on her message that capacity is key. This is the first step. And also wanted to include that probably this is not only towards young people, but also institutions that are trying to engage young people. So I would like to also call upon our government as well to increase the capacity building opportunities, especially in the lead up of the UNCCD COP16 that is being hosted by Mongolia. And another point I wanted to mention, reflecting on your question of any initiatives that might be already on ground that are trying to do. So I would like to mention the program that already three of us are part of, which is the Youth Negotiators Academy. It is an amazing initiative that has started by youth champions such as Mary Claire and Dana, with the sole purpose of integrating youth perspectives into the real negotiation spaces. And one of the biggest breakthroughs was in 2023, in the lead up for the Riyadh COP,
they have launched a program called the Land Negotiators Program, which is specifically dedicated for UNCCD negotiation. So this has been a very successful case. So also another piece of recommendation for our governments, if we could probably expand this program, the Land Negotiators Program, for our government for training not only international negotiators, but Mongolian negotiators to be participating in our country's COP. So I'd like to recommend for our government to expand the collaboration with the Youth Negotiators Academy. I guess we're already aware of it. Thank you very much. Do you have any food? Sure. I just wanted to quote the minister's speech from yesterday. He said that during one of the Synergy sessions, he said that we don't have 3 planets for the 3 COPs. We have only 1 planet, so ensuring synergy is the only way forward. So I think talk about from silos to synergies, like a discussion every pavilion by everyone. But just to ensure it, as I mentioned earlier, youth engagement is very important. And I cannot speak for the government. I'm just an advisor, but we are planning to have series of events and series of discussions engaging the youth, especially in developing the 3 initiatives that we are planning to launch at COP30. And also, there's also discussion on preparing youth negotiators specifically for this COP17. But it's all at the discussion level at the moment. And another thing is that we also in a discussion of preparing not only the negotiators in English, but also in Mongolian language, so that we can spread the leadership, to spread the global targets to everyone, every citizen in Mongolia. Thank you. And maybe Jonathan can add on.
Thank you so much for expressing your deep dive and your substantive proposals to the government side. So on behalf of the government of Mongolia, I would like to assure that we will make our best to ensure and to start the real capacity building program for only for Mongolian youth negotiators towards COP17 next year, because as I mentioned during my welcome remarks, that I am also one of the youth negotiators actually who is working at the government of Mongolia, but it's good to hear that there is such a lot of opportunities and a lot of engagements and a lot of capacity building programs around the world. But in Mongolia, I just saw that we can do, and we can have our own Mongolian youth and negotiators capacity building program towards COP17 next year. So I can assure and I can say, let's start together working on the drafting overall concept notes together back to home from the land to Ulaanbaatar, so we could start maybe 1st of January next year. So I will also look forward to having your support and collaboration and preparation and support from your side too. There are also alumni, CYMP alumni, including Super, Gokno, and Info, who is not here actually, but okay, so I can show that.
Wow, that's a big announcement. Thank you for also addressing the problem very systemically. And only this way we can ensure that from A to Z, youth can be part of the process, but also when implemented, the actions can have a long-term impact. And then, so do you have input? Everything also take one to two questions from the floor and then work from there. So from the floor, is there anyone who would like to ask a question or give a remark to our esteemed panelists?
among the few professionals.
So, as we mentioned earlier, 30 target was actually initiated by Mongolia 33 years ago in Rio during Earth Summit. So it shows that Mongolia's leadership in conservation skills. And 3 years ago, WWF has conducted a global assessment on the synergies between the three conventions. The CBD, the Convention on Biodiversity, Convention on Triple C, and Convention on Combat Desertification. So Mongolia, according to that assessment, Mongolia was the only country, the only country that has surpassed all the implementation of the three convention targets, and Mongolia is the only country that is ensuring the synergy between the two conventions. So another example that Mongolia is leading.
Dr. Zunda asked actually that Mongolian administrators really addressing this experience and also this relationship community active society and innovation, right? So this is the visual diagram and the currently the negotiation on the society is just under discussion dedicated either informal note or either draft decision. But we have prepared, together with my junior negotiators, we have prepared the draft information to be delivered to the informal consultation to be held at 5 to 6 p.m. today. So we're gonna definitely include this example and this Mongolian experience and Mongolian leadership, how we have been ensuring the synergy on the ground to our draft information. It will be a great pleasure to mention and highlight our Mongolian good example. Thank you so much.
Very much for that. We have time for just one more question before we do the closing remarks and wrap up panel discussion. We have a question from the floor. In this case, do you have an input? It's only under discussion from the floor.
I'm also part of Council of Northeast Asian Youth Crime Council that has just launched last June. And in our declaration, we made sure to include biodiversity and land desertification. We would do action to support the government, support the cooperation between countries in the region to have synergies between these important issues. So I would like to also highlight that. Thank you.
Just to add, maybe supplementary, I know nothing about how Mongolia is treating and dealing and embracing youth because I'm not part of your internal business, but it's quite interesting to see the things that you all mentioned. And it's very similar to we have in Brazil, as we have in Brazil. And looking more broad way, I think having a presentation of before, I think it's training, making people, young people, um, that are trained to occupy those spaces. Because there could be two scenarios in my experience in YNA. You could have the opportunity to be there, so government embrace you and put you there, and you could not understand anything or not be able to contribute in a nice way. You could not be able to understand how to behave in those spaces. So training is very, very, very important. And I think I would like to echo the YNA land training. I think that would be very interesting for you. And I'm also guaranteeing this with my government. I just talked with the director of desertification yesterday, and he assured that there will be 4 places Brazilian people. Even though it's not me, it's very important that 4 Brazilian and young people are trained. And then after that, not only the training, but also give the opportunity. And but I see that I can see clearly that you already have been doing this. You have been doing the opportunity. You are deploying their voices, the young people's voices. So it's quite nice. I would like to more and say that for me this is important. Independent of the country, independent of Mongolia, Brazil, in every country. That's it.
Thank you very much. So throughout this conversation, so as I saw the mic was going back and forth, so this is already exemplary that at COP30 we are here to dialogue, we're here to collaborate, and even in terms of participation, thank you so much for coming to support us, even at a short notice. That means a lot to us, and we really look forward to working together towards COP17. And with that, I'll hand the mic over back to you for closing remarks.
So much. Can I deliver my closing remark from here or there? So, as we put in today's session, we're under a very tight frame of time that we had prepared from yesterday. I think this event was very informative that we can continue on the ground, back to Yugi and back to your city and back to your countries together. And as I can see, one concrete point that I can conclude this event, that is, let's unify the efforts together. Let's unify the efforts to engage in raising engagement with the youth generation and strengthening that the intergenerational connection, right? We do have old negotiators, we do have skilled negotiators in every single country. But as we are new negotiators, we need to strengthen the intergenerational connection between the old negotiators, between the youth negotiators, all together with the national level, and all together with the regional level, and all together with the international level. That I can see the real result from this COP30 event. Because this is my 5th the COP, and last year's Riyadh COP and last year's COP16 in Cali was my first time COP for the CBD and UNCCD that I saw the real connection and real dynamics between this climate change, biodiversity, and desertification. So what I want to say is that as we end our participation here in the land period, I would like to expand, I would like to strengthen the capacities and also the capacity building trainings, not only for synergies, but also I would love to see the youth negotiators who's going to attend the all other negotiation items such as finance, Article 6 implementation, and also the just transition and loss and damage and GGA, etc. So for achieving the concrete result, for bringing the actions, for bringing the promises on the ground, for bringing all the goals into the ground, into the implementation, we need you. So we want you to be engaged, more active in the future. Thank you so much.
Another round of applause for our dear panelists, please. Thank you very much. Just for everyone to know, there is another event at 3:30 p.m. at the NDC Partnership Pavilion, and I look forward to